So let's take a look at the Pro Tools signal flow. It's something that you as a songwriter or recording mixing engineer should really know in your DAW. Now, I'm using Pro Tools here, but this works across the majority of them. There might be a few tweaks. I don't know. I haven't tried all of them, but the concept of it should be the same. The first thing I want to say here is that you want to make sure there's audio already coming out before you record or do anything. So one thing you can do is to upload a simple MP3 or a simple sample or whatever, and just hit play. What you want to do here is just make sure that it's coming out of whatever source you want it to come out, whether that's your laptop speakers or your actual monitors that you have on your desk at your studio. The first thing I would do is I would hit play. Now on my end, I can hear that this is coming out of my monitor speakers. And I can tell that there's the meter here. Everything seems to be okay. And luckily it was. But let's pretend for a moment here that even though I hit play and I see the meter bouncing up and down there, I still can't hear anything. Nothing's coming out. First thing I would check, as silly as it sounds, make sure the volume is up on whatever you're trying to use it on, whether it's your laptop or your interface. Again, I know it sounds silly, but it happens to the best of us, the most simplest of mistakes. Make sure there's nothing connected like headphones or something that may be like cutting off the signal from coming out from your speakers. Now, let's say the volume was up. We didn't make that simple mistake. The next thing I would do is I would go to the setup menu up here. I would click on it, come down to where it says Playback Engine. Now, right here, this window pops up. And right away at the very top, I see Playback Engine. And this right here gives me all the options of where my audio output is going to come out from. Now, right now, I have it to my universal audio interface, which is the correct one, and which is why everything is working on my end. But if something else was chosen here, besides the MacBook speakers here, I probably wouldn't be hearing any sound. If I did have the MacBook Pro speakers option chosen here, they would be coming out from my laptop. And at the moment, I don't want that. So I would still go in here, make sure it's universal audio on my end, check whatever interface you might have. Your options that come up here will be different depending on the software you have with Windows or the Mac OS. Check, see what you have. Make sure your interface is showing up on this menu. Choose that option and then just click OK. Now, if that's still not working, my only option would just then be to contact customer support for whatever interface or DAW you have. Well, one thing I would say too is to check your cables. Make sure the cables are actually working, because sometimes a cable just gives up for no reason, and you might have to change that in order for it to work and fix all that issue. So let's move on now. Let's say everything's working perfectly fine. It's coming out of the right source that you want it to come out from. The next thing I want to talk about is switching over to the mix window now. We see the audio track here. Now the audio track, if you look kind of down here, we have the input and output. The input here is coming in from your interface, whatever you decide to hook up to it. And then it's coming up here through the inserts, A through J. It's going to come straight from the top, coming straight down. Now that's important because whatever plugins you have here, it's going to affect the signal. So if I choose an EQ here, the standard Pro Tools EQ, and then let's say I want to put a compressor next, it's going to come in first through the EQ and then into the compressor. Now, if that's what you want to do, then it's perfectly fine. There's no problems there. But if that's not what you wanted, then you're going to have an issue here. What you need to do is then just, swap places and then make sure the compressor comes first, then the EQ. And this all depends too on the chain that you're trying to make, whatever plugins you add. Just be aware that the signal goes from top to bottom, and it could affect the next plugin in line that you have there. So once it goes through there, the signal will pass through the sends, but this signal is going out and hitting whatever delay, reverb, or whatever send you send it to. After the sends, you also have your pan knob here. You want to switch it to the left, to the right, and then it's going to go out from the output. Now, right now, this is the only track we have. So kind of automatically, it'll choose the right path. In this case, coming back out through the interface and then out through the monitors there. But in most cases, you're going to have a lot of tracks, instrument tracks, MIDI tracks. aux tracks, the whole lot there. So it can get pretty chaotic after a while. So for example, let's do a master track here. So Shift Command N, we'll do a stereo, master fader. Now, right away, I kind of see a problem here. Notice that if I hit play right now, you're not going to see nothing on the master fader. The reason for that is because the outputs here don't match. You see, this one on the master fader just says output. Meanwhile, the one on the audio track here says monitor left and right. So I have to change one of them. Let's go with the master fader here, and we'll change it to monitor left and right. So now what that did is that the audio track is now being assigned to go out to the monitor into the master fader, and then the master fader also goes out to the monitor left and right. So now if I hit play, they both have signal going to them. Now with the master fader, it also has inserts. It inserts A through J. And just like the audio track, whatever you put in these slots is also going to affect the signal. So be aware of that. Let's pretend now that we also have a bus or an aux track here in between. Again, if I hit play, there's nothing going to that aux track. And you can probably guess why, because we haven't assigned the signal from the audio track to go through that aux track. As a matter of fact, the aux track has no input. See right here on the very top, it says no input. So that means nothing is going to it. So one of the first things we need to do for this aux track is give it an input. In this case, we'll just choose a random bus down here. Let's go with bus 3. So we gave it bus 3, and the output, we got to give it the same output as the master fader here. So in this case, output monitor left and right. Now for the audio track, we got to change the output because we want it to go to that aux track. We got to change that to the same bus. So bus number 3. So now the audio is going from the audio track into the aux track, again from the top, going straight down. Then from the output of the aux track, it goes to the master fader, goes from the top, and then it comes out to your monitor speakers or whatever speakers you're listening to. So if I did everything correctly here, we should see signal on all 3 of these. And we did. Now, right now we only have 3 tracks here, and it's not that hard to kind of see where everything's going. Normally though, once you do get into bigger sessions, you're going to have more and more tracks, and you want to kind of rename all these inputs and outputs to know where everything's going. So let's pretend that this bus one here maybe is something to do with guitar. So we will label it GTR for guitar. Look what happened here. The audio track, the output, the name also changed. It's telling me, okay, the output is going to GTR, which is this aux track here, and there's the input, GTR. The output is the monitor. I mean, you could rename that. I'm going to leave it like that for now. And so as you go on and on here, making more and more tracks and stuff like that, the inputs and outputs, you want to make sure you label them. Name them something that you can easily see and be like, okay, it's going to that bus or that track or whatever. Now, this is just for inside the DAW. What I highly recommend is that you keep track of this stuff from the beginning. Get a piece of paper, get an app, that takes notes or whatever, and write down the signal flow from the vocalist, whatever instrument, the microphone, going through the cable, to the interface, into the DAW, and then keeping track of where it goes through. Get used to kind of doing that just for your safety, for your sake of mind as well, because sometimes things go wrong in big sessions and you just don't know why the signal's not flowing through. You want to be able to kind of trace your steps back and be like, okay, I did this. Oh, I forgot to do this part here. And that's why the signal's not flowing. So be aware how the signal flow works. I know, again, this is Pro Tools. Almost confident it works kind of the same on all DAWs, but I haven't tried all of them, so I'm sorry I can't tell you if they do or not. But one thing you can do, again, is just keep good records of how you're doing this. So hopefully this Pro Tools Signal Flow video worked for you. I know it was very, I guess, in a way, basic, and I wanted to keep it that way. I didn't want to go too much into like the minute details. This is mostly meant for maybe a songwriter or a beginner who wants to get into this type of stuff. And I wanted to keep it friendly like that. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments. I'll try to answer them the best I can. If you have any tips that it might help anyone else, also feel free to leave them in the comments. Let's try to help each other here. My name is Alec. Love you guys. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.